Hi guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time that you get to listen to this. I really do appreciate you for being part of this journey and coming along with me as we read the Bible from cover to cover and as we read the Bible chapter by chapter, day by day, just trying to understand what the Lord has in store for us. We're just trying to understand what the Word of God says to us, so then we can be we can be quick to do that which the Lord asks us to do. Today we are looking at Psalms chapter 120. If you haven't read this chapter, please pause this recording, read the chapter for yourself, understand what's being said in the chapter. Let the Lord speak to you directly before you can come and listen to me read it and give the summary and give the lessons that I have picked up from this chapter. So I'm reading from the easy to read version. Let me tell you guys, I usually read from different versions and then decide the one that I like the most. This is the one that I like the most, especially for this chapter. And so I need you to understand what this chapter is. So this chapter, actually from chapter 120 all the way to chapter 134, are psalms or other songs that were sung by people while they were going up the temple. They are called as the songs of ascending, or rather the songs of ascending. The reason why they are called the songs of ascending is because Jerusalem was built on a hill. And so everybody who was coming to Jerusalem to do like the festivals and every celebration that needed to happen, they were literally ascending, coming to Jerusalem. And so they were coming to Jerusalem to worship the Lord because that's where the temple was. They were coming to Jerusalem to worship the Lord because that was like the main city of Israel. And so that's why they were coming, and that's why the songs are called the songs of ascending. So imagine with me, pilgrims are spiritual travelers. They're traveling together. They're a group of people and they're walking as they're singing this song. So I want you to imagine that this is people singing this song. All right? Okay, tuko pamoja. All right, let's do this. It's saying a song for going up to the temple. I was in trouble. I called to the Lord for help and he answered me. I said, Lord, save me from liars, from those who say things that are not true. Liars, do you know what the Lord has for you? Do you know what you will get? You will get a soldier's sharp arrow and the hot coals to punish you. How I hate living among these people. It's like living in Meshach or in the tents of Kedar. I have lived too long with those who hate peace. I ask for peace, but they want war. Okay. So first I need to say Kedar was places where the people who are known as wild or savage fighters used to live. So Psalms 120 is the first of the series of the Psalms called the Songs of Ascents that we will see, of course, in chapter 120 or the 234. They were sung by spiritual travelers as they were coming to Jerusalem on those glorious feast days, coming to worship the Lord. Psalms 120 presents us with a man in distress. This man called out to the Lord for help with his trouble, and he was confident that the Lord had listened to him. He was being attacked by vicious words, by people with lying lips and deceitful tongues. He concluded that the Lord would avenge him against those liars, and they would feel the sharp arrows of the Lord's judgment. He also continued to lament that he had to live amongst these liars and slanders who insisted on fighting even when he asked for peace. That's actually the last line. It says, I ask for peace, but they want war. Let me ask you guys, have you ever lived or worked in a space where people are always looking to pick fights? I mean, they're always so combative and short-circuited with blood pressures constantly going up. And when they're not fighting, they're lying about each other. They're spreading untruthful rumors and causing chaos. I mean, what an emotionally tiring space to be in. And in today's world, we call that a toxic space. So the writer of this psalm seems to be living in a toxic place. And whereas he shows us that he called to the Lord for help and he answered, we also see him venting. He says, how I hate living here among these people. And literally, this guy, let me break it down, guys. Literally, this guy is walking to Jerusalem to worship God there. And he's venting on the road about his toxic living situation. And this feels honestly very familiar for me. I don't know, it feels very familiar for me. Sometimes I'm in the car and I'm driving home. from like a busy day at work. And I'm alone in the car and I just start to vent. And I start having imaginary arguments with people who annoyed me during the day. I don't know whether, do you guys have imaginary arguments with people? I remember first there's a day I came to the parking, to where I live, and my parking spot was picked by someone had parked at my spot. And that lady usually used to park there just to spite me. And she used to do it so many times. And she had two houses in this estate, and she still used to park at my parking. That means she had 2 parking spots, and she had one, and she still used to park at my spot just to spite me. So there's one of those days I just came home and I just started having an imaginary argument with her in my house by myself. I don't know whether you guys are crazy. Do you guys have imaginary fights with people who you are annoyed? Please validate my crazy. Validate my cuckoos, because I can't be the only one I can't be the only one who's created like that. Usually, when I'm done venting, I switch to talking to God. As a matter of fact, this lady, I prayed her out of this estate. That one night I came and I found she had parked at my parking. And then when I went to ask her, she was very rude to me. I came to the house. I had imaginary arguments with her. And then after I had whether those imaginary arguments are loud, like it's not like I'm whispering. It's bad. It's bad. And then after that, I just switched to praying and I told the Lord, I don't have the energy, even the strength to fight this lady, but she's taking away my peace. The fact that she does this to spite me, I want her out of this estate. I literally prayed that lady out of the estate, and now she no longer lives here. So me, I vent and I see this guy. I completely relate with this guy. He's going to worship the Lord in Jerusalem, and he's still venting about how he hates living where he lives. And he's just like, I'm living with liars, I'm living with scavengers, people who just like war even when I am trying to choose peace. And he's just venting. And then we'll do see that he actually went to the Lord and asked him to help him, and the Lord helped him. So for me, when I'm done venting, I switch to talking to God. And I pray that he contends with those that contend with me, and he contends with my enemies, and that he gives me peace. This is a question I have for you. What do you do when people annoy you? And you know that people who can annoy you that you can't argue with, the people who can annoy you that you can't fight with, the people who can just annoy you when you're helpless. You get what I mean? You're helpless. So what do you do when people annoy you? For me, I vent, I have imaginary arguments with them, and then I go to the Lord and I tell the Lord, hey Lord, you are seeing this person and how they are harassing me, they are oppressing me. And then I say, please contend with those that contend with me. I don't know what it is that you do, but me, I've told you what I do. If you want to judge me and think I'm cuckoos, imagine it's fine. It is all right. But I just hope that you see this man and see just how human he is, that he's venting to himself. He's literally talking to himself as quote unquote a song. Like he's made a song, and the song itself is a venting song. And then also he's still praying to the Lord, and he's saying that the Lord heard him. So what do you do when people annoy you, especially people you can't fight back with? Thank you so much for listening, and see you tomorrow.